Ever wondered what it feels like to hold a life in your hands? Today, you're not just going to see it. You're going to experience it. This is a heart transplant from my point of view. And in this operating room, a patient is waiting, their life hanging in the balance, dependent on this single incredible procedure. The clock is ticking. Let's grub in. Welcome, everyone. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, and for the next few minutes, you'll be my hands and eyes. This isn't just about surgery, it's about a second chance at life. Our patient today has end-stage heart failure. Their own heart muscle is so weak, it can no longer pump blood effectively. All other medical options have been exhausted. A transplant is their only hope. It's a monumental task, filled with risks, but also with incredible rewards. The preparation for a transplant begins long before the patient ever reaches this room. It involves a massive team: cardiologists, nurses, social workers, and coordinators. They work for months, sometimes years, evaluating the patient's health, finding a suitable donor match, and providing crucial support. A donor heart is a rare and precious gift. The donor is a hero who, in their passing, has chosen to give others a chance to live. We treat that gift with the utmost respect. Our patient is now fully anesthetized and stable. The first major step is opening the chest. This is done through a procedure called a median sternotomy. We make a precise incision down the center of the chest and carefully divide the sternum or breastbone. This gives us direct access to the heart. As we open the chest, you can see the pericardium, the protective sac surrounding the heart. We gently open this sac, and there it is, the patient's failing heart, still beating, but struggling. It's enlarged and weak, a clear visual of why this surgery is so necessary. Now for one of the most critical phases, connecting the patient to the cardiopulmonary bypass machine, also known as the heart-lung machine. This incredible device will temporarily take over the function of the patient's heart and lungs. It will circulate and oxygenate their blood while we work. We place large tubes, called cannulas, into the major blood vessels. One goes into the aorta to pump oxygenated blood back into the body, and others go into the vena cava to drain deoxygenated blood into the machine. Once the patient is safely on bypass, the real work can begin. The body is cooled slightly to protect the organs while blood flow is reduced. With the heart-lung machine running, the patient's heart is now quiet and still. It's a surreal moment. The organ that has defined life for this person is now motionless in my hands. Our task is to carefully and methodically remove it. We begin by clamping the aorta, the body's main artery. Then, we start the dissections. We have to precisely cut the major blood vessels connecting the heart to the rest of the body: the aorta, the pulmonary artery, the superior and inferior vena cava, and the pulmonary veins. Each cut has to be perfect. We leave behind cuffs of these vessels, which will be the connection points for the new heart. And then the old heart is out. There is an empty space in the chest, a void waiting to be filled with hope. Just as we finish removing the old heart, the new donor heart arrives in the operating room. It has been transported in a special ice-cold preservation solution to keep it viable. Every second counts. From the moment it was removed from the donor, we have about 4 to 6 hours to get it beating in our patient's chest. The race is on. We take the donor heart and prepare it on a separate table, trimming it to ensure a perfect fit. It looks healthy, strong, and full of potential. This is the part that feels like the world's most intricate puzzle. We have to sew the new heart into place. It's a delicate, high-stakes process. We start with the left atrium, which receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs. Using fine sutures, we stitch the donor heart's left atrial cuff to the patient's. It's a sequence of precise rhythmic movements. One stitch after another, we create a seamless, leak-proof connection. Then we move on to the right atrium, the pulmonary artery, and finally, the largest and most critical vessel, the aorta. Each connection, or anastomosis, has to be flawless. Any leaks could be catastrophic. My hands are steady, my focus absolute. The entire team is silent, concentrated. With all the connections made, the moment of truth arrives. We have a new heart, fully sewn in, but it's still not beating. It's cold and lifeless. We start the process of rewarming the patient's body using the heart-lung machine. As warm, oxygenated blood begins to flow through the coronary arteries of the new heart, we watch, and we wait. Sometimes, the heart starts to beat on its own, a slow, tentative rhythm at first that gradually grows stronger. It's a magical moment. You see a faint flicker, then a contraction, and then a beat. A steady, strong beat. The new heart is alive. Other times, it needs a little encouragement. We might use small paddles to deliver a controlled electrical shock, like a miniature defibrillator, to jolt it into a rhythm. Today, it starts on its own. The empty space is now filled with a powerful beating heart. The sight never gets old. The new heart is beating strongly, taking over the job of pumping blood. Now, we have to carefully wean the patient off the heart-lung machine. We gradually reduce the support from the machine, allowing the new heart to take on more and more of the workload. We monitor every vital sign: blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen levels. The heart is doing its job beautifully. Once we are confident the new heart can support the body on its own, we remove the cannulas and close the openings in the blood vessels. The heart-lung machine is turned off. The patient is now living on the power of their new heart. The surgery isn't over yet. We have to ensure there is no bleeding from any of the suture lines. We meticulously check every connection. Once we're satisfied everything is secure, we place temporary pacing wires on the surface of the heart. These are a safety measure, allowing us to control the heart's rhythm if needed in the first few days after surgery. We also place drainage tubes in the chest to remove any excess fluid. Finally, it's time to close. We bring the two halves of the sternum back together and wire them securely. Then we close the muscle, fat, and skin layers with sutures. The patient is then transferred to the intensive care unit for close monitoring and the start of a long recovery journey. What you've just witnessed is one of the most profound events in medicine. A life has been transformed. But the journey is far from over. The patient will now face a lifetime of immunosuppressant medications to prevent their body from rejecting the new heart. They will have regular checkups, biopsies, and a strict health regimen. It's a lifelong commitment. But it's a commitment they make for a second chance at birthdays, at holidays, at watching their kids grow up, at life itself. Being a part of that is the greatest privilege a surgeon can have. It's a reminder of the fragility of life, the power of science, and the incredible generosity of the human spirit. Thank you for joining me in the operating room today. It's an honor to share this experience with you. If this story touched you, please share it and consider learning more about organ donation. It's a decision that can turn a tragedy into a miracle. Thanks for watching and stay curious.